Hi everyone and welcome to Book Boop. My name is Rachel and today I'm going to talk about all the books that I'm planning or hoping to read in the month of March. I've got about 10 books here and some of them are pretty big and I have no earthly idea if I'm going to be able to get through all these. Some of them are kind of intimidating, but we'll see what happens by the end of the month, right? So the first book I'm hoping to read is King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is a part of the whole Grishaverse thing. If you've happened to hear of that before, it's the Shadow and Bone trilogy as well as the Six of Crows duology. This is another duology that takes place after all of that. This is the first book in that duology. The second one comes out this year. It might already be out or be out soon or in March. I don't know. I think it comes out early 2021, but I'm hoping to get through at least this one before the end of April because the Shadow and Bone TV show on Netflix is coming out and I've been trying to get through all the Grishaverse books before that comes out so I can be fully aware of what's going on. But I don't think any of the stuff in this duology is going to be touched upon, at least in this season, if there are additional seasons on Netflix for this. But I'm still just wanting to go ahead and see if I can get through all the Grishaverse stuff. That way I'm already completely well versed in it. I know nothing about this other than the fact it follows Nikolai, who I think at the beginning of the series is a prince, and I think by this point he's a king. And so this follows his rule and how he tries to patch his kingdom back together after a massive war, because a lot of the Grishaverse series is focused on a huge war. So I'm interested to see what happens with this. I've heard people say it's kind of slow, but I'm interested to see what happens in this series, what continues to happen in this world that Leigh Bardugo has created. I also really enjoy Nikolai's character, so I'm excited to jump into that one and see how that one is. It's been out for a while. I'm excited to finally get to it. This next one is one that is the most intimidating to me, and I really want to read it. And it's a brick, and it is House of Leaves by Mark Z. Danielewski. I apologize if I completely butchered that last name. This book is a massive paperback. It's freaking huge. I'm a little terrified of this book. I know very little about this except for the fact it's supposed to be absolutely terrifying. Some people have said it's one of the scariest books they've ever read. The only thing I know about this book is that it's about a house that is larger on the inside than it looks on the outside. That's legitimately all I know. That's kind of all I want to know going into it. It looks like it's got some really weird, interesting ways of writing. There's some weird stuff going on here. There's some, oh wow, okay. It looks like it's just got all sorts of weird things. I know some of the text is actually mirror imaged and backwards, so you have to like hold it up to a mirror to read it. There's like all sorts of weird stuff going on this, and it's supposed to be really creepy. And yeah, the reason I'm gonna try to jump into this now is because the Literally Dead book club over at Books and Lala's channel, they are reading this book in March. So I thought it'd be fun to try to read this along with that book club and being able to join in and like watching some of the discussions on this. But this is the one I feel like I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get to because it's so big. And I'm a little intimidated by it. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get through all of it because I feel like this would take me all month. It is huge, but I don't know. But I'm hoping it's as scary as people say because I love me some scary reads. So I'm excited to get to that one, but also terrified to get to it at the same time. The next one is one I've actually borrowed from the library, and it is a new release, and that is What Big Teeth by Rose Szabo. This one I know very little about as well, except it's like a family of kind of monsters. This looks like very werewolf or vampire-ish. I don't know. It sounds creepy. It sounds fun. I'm so sorry I can't really tell you more about it. I feel like I've read the description before, but it's been a while and I don't really fully remember what it's about. But it looks like a good time, and I love the cover. I love the illustration. I love the creepiness of like the teeth showing. I don't know. This looks really cool. So I'm excited to read this one and see what it's all about, and I hope it's a really cool new release. All right, let's see what's next. Ah, yes. This is my most anticipated release of 2021. It will come in the mail. Hopefully Amazon will deliver it in the mail the day it comes out. And it comes out on Tuesday of this week, and that is Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is the third book in the Cassidy Blake or City of Ghosts series, And I absolutely adore this middle grade series. It focuses on this girl whose parents are ghost hunters. They have a ghost hunter TV show, and they travel throughout the world to the most haunted locations, and she goes along with them. The thing is that her parents actually don't fully believe in ghosts, but she does because she can see them. She had a near-death experience, and because of that, she's able to see beyond the veil. She's able to see and interact with other ghosts. Even her best friend is actually a ghost. So it's a whole lot of fun. The whole thing about her parents having this TV show, this paranormal TV show, and the whole fact that like she's able to interact with some of the most haunted and creepy places. There's lots of neat places that we've traveled to. The first book was in Edinburgh. The second book was in Paris. This one takes place in New Orleans. So New Orleans. I'm very, very excited about this. I cannot wait to continue this series. I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite series ever, and it's nice and spooky, and I love it. So I'm very, very excited for the next installment. It is the one book that I have pre-ordered this year, and I am very, very pumped to get to it. Next, I'm going to finally finish up this duology. Oh, wow. Sorry, I didn't notice that the light keeps flaring out. My apologies on that. I'm going to finally, hopefully, finish this duology. I'm going to read Our Dark Duet by Victoria Schwab. This is the second book in the Monsters of Verity duology. This is such a fun, interesting world that Victoria Schwab has created. It's very kind of like, I guess you could say sort of post-apocalyptic in a way. We are following this world where there are monsters and humans, and they're having to coexist together, but there is also sort of like this battle between them. We follow a couple of main characters who should be on opposite sides, but end up being friends and are having to like navigate that. My favorite character from the series is August, and he is a monster, and he can control people with his music. He plays the violin, and I just adore him. He is a cinnamon roll, and he's precious, and I can't wait to see what happens in this series. I waited way too long to read this. I loved the first one. I read it last month, and I adored it, and I'm excited to finish up the duology and see what happens. So I'm slowly but surely working through Victoria Schwab's works, so I'm excited to finish up that duology. I think that'll be really, really fun. Next is another new release, another continuation of a series. This might actually be the last book in the series, and that is The Desolations of Devil's Acre by Ransom. This is the sixth and I think final book in the Miss Peregrine's series. It's kind of consists of two trilogies. The first three books were kind of its one own encapsulating story, and then this is the sixth book in its next sort of 3-book encapsulating story, and it's been good. I haven't enjoyed it as much as the first 3 kind of storyline, but this one is still really interesting. If you haven't heard of this series at all, kind of one of the main things about this series that kind of sets it apart is the fact that Ransom uses old, kind of disturbing photographs to incorporate within his storytelling. Hence, like the picture on the front here. There are pictures throughout the book that kind of coincide, but they're actual photographs that he had just found. And it's just a really unique way to tell the story. It's all about these kids that have these unique abilities. Not necessarily superhero, but they just have these peculiar abilities, these strange quirks. Example, maybe there's a boy that can control bees and communicate with bees. There's a girl who's lighter than air and has to wear really heavy shoes, otherwise she'll float away. Just like weird things like that. So there's a whole lot more to it going on than that. It's just a really interesting, kind of dark series, and it's creepy, and it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to see what happens in this and to see a lot of this overarching storyline kind of wrap up and see what happens in this story. So I'm excited about that one as well. That one actually came out at the end of February, so it just very, very recently came out. Oh my goodness, I forgot. I have another new release that I'm hoping to get to. I have it on hold at the library. It's still on order, so hopefully it will come through relatively soon if I can find the cover on here. Give me a second. Here we go. It is called Karma Moon Ghost Hunter by Melissa Savage. This actually sounds really similar to the Cassidy Blake series by Victoria Schwab in a way. We're following another girl, I think, whose parents are paranormal investigators, and she is wanting to be one as well, and I think she's actually able to see ghosts. that's all I know about it. That was enough for me to be like, yes, I want to know more, because I love the Cassidy Blake series and I'm hoping to find some more books similar to that. So this one sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure there's a very, there's a specific storyline that goes along with this other than the fact it's like paranormal stuff, but I'm really excited about it. And the cover looks really cool, and I'm all about middle grade ghost stories. They're always so much fun, and honestly, a lot of them tend to be pretty spooky, so I'm excited about that. Okay, I've got three more to talk about. This next one is one that I've owned for a little bit and I've been putting off reading, and that is The Bone Garden by Heather Kassner. Now that I think about it, I can't fully remember what this book is about. All I know is it's a middle grade, and we're following this girl here who, I don't think she's a zombie specifically, but I think she was dead and she's brought back to life. There's a cemetery that's kind of the main focus of this story. I don't really know much else than that. I'm sorry, I can't give you more than that. I feel like very unprepared telling you some of these books, but it's kind of fun to go into these not knowing very much. I know I've read the descriptions at some point, but I like being able to go into these books going, I don't fully remember what this is about. I just know it was intriguing, and I'll just learn while I go along and find out what happens. So I'm interested to see what this one's about. It's a nice short looking one, and I think it looks like a lot of fun and looks spooky. I mean, look at the spooky graveyard and the disembodied hand. It's a good time, right? Okay. All right, I've got two more. One of them is another sequel. If you've noticed, I've got a lot of sequels in here. I'm trying to kind of catch up with a lot of the series I'm in the middle of before I start any new ones, because I have so many series I feel like I'm in the middle of. This is a second to another duology, one that I read very recently, and that is Kingdom of the Blazing Pheonix by Julie C. Dow. This is the second book in I guess it's a duology, I think, to Forest of a Thousand Lanterns. It is a Asian-inspired origin story for the evil queen from Snow White. And I was pleasantly surprised by the first one. I really enjoyed it a lot, seeing the descent of this character from being a rather innocent person to the descent of becoming the evil queen, basically. And I'm really interested to see what happens in the second book. I think there is a third book, but it's like a companion novel, so it's not technically like a trilogy. So I think it's just a duology, but I think I will, if I really like the second one as well, I'll probably read the kind of additional book. But I really, really like the first one. I'm very excited to see what happens, and I was looking forward to reading it soon because that way the first one's fresh in my memory. There's a lot that happens in the first book, so I feel like I need to read this close to the first one just for me to remember. But this is a series I just feel like I haven't heard very much of at all, and it's so good. Like, why is nobody talking about the series? It's good. I love it. I love dark origin stories for like classic fairy tale villains. I love those. I think they're really fun because we usually don't know very much about the villains, right? We usually have a lot of focus on the heroine or the hero and not a lot of focus on whoever the bad guy is and like how they got that way. And I just think it's fascinating. All right, this next one is sort of a random add-on. Is a little bit of a spoiler for what I was able to get to in February. So this is the one book that was on my February TBR that I did not get to, and it is The Land of Yesterday by K.A. Reynolds. I was really hoping to get to this, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get to this in March either. I'm just putting it on my TBR to see if I can get to it if I have time. All I know about this one is we were following this family who has recently lost their son/brother. We're following this little girl, and her family is falling apart over the grief. Her father is barely functioning anymore. He's just sort of staring into space and doesn't really want to do anything. Her mother is so upset, she actually follows her son's soul to the Land of Yesterday, which is where people's souls go when they die. Her mother has sort of like wandered into the Land of Yesterday and hasn't returned, and so this girl ends up going into the Land of Yesterday, I think, to rescue her mother and try to see if she can bring her family back together. It sounds mysterious, it sounds sad, it sounds, I don't know, it just sounds really, really captivating to me. So I'm really hoping to get to this. I'm sad I did not make it to this in February, but I had a lot of books in my February TBR, and one in particular that is taking me way longer to read than I thought it would, and so I just didn't get to this. So hopefully in March, but definitely this year, I think. So that's a lot of books. Don't know if I'm gonna get to them all, especially House of Leaves, because That one, I feel like I could kill somebody with that thing. It's big, and it's so, I mean, look how wide this thing is. That's not a normal size for a book. Anyways, okay, if any of the books I have mentioned today you have read, let me know. I'm interested to know if you've read any of these, especially this massive chunker of a book. Let me know if you've read it, and let me know if it's as terrifying as I've heard it is. And hopefully it's worth reading. I really hope it's worth reading because it's going to be time consuming. Let me know kind of what you're planning on reading in March too. Maybe what book you're most excited about reading. I would love to know. On this side of the video over here is my logo. If you click on that, you can subscribe to my channel and follow me on my book journey. On this side of the video over here is a suggestion for another video. I'm going to watch another one right now. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you are doing well. You rock. Please don't forget to keep reading, okay? Bye.